and out, and people were not out and about, they began to see places that were clearer. So not only did we pause, in a sense, and that's my word for it. Someone else could use another word which works for them, but it's almost like everybody, in the midst of people not being able to breathe, the earth took a breath, and we took a breath when we paused. I don't know if that answered your question, but if there's someone else that has
so it's like a
input.
It's like a rebirth.
I think, Barbara, what I saw when you said that is just like we took a pause and began to see that life is more than running a rat race of work and throwing everything we have into work and not being concerned about each other. The earth itself took a pause in that it did not have to struggle to continuously cleanse itself in order to make sure that we still are able to survive on this earth. It was like a rest period where it did not have to cleanse the ocean, and cleanse the air, because it was not being continuously polluted every day. I think at least that's what I saw when you made that statement.
Yes. Yes. Other questions or thoughts or the comments?
Did I help you, Kathy?
Was that Kathy?
Yes, thanks. Yeah, this is Kathy.
Okay, Kathy.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Anything else?
It was also an opportunity to see that the vibrations and the rhythms are real, because it was measured. The results were measured by the cleansing of the oceans and the reactions of the animals from all levels. So everything that had life felt what was going on, not necessarily understanding it, but feeling a sense of ease or a sense of oneness and a sense of peace in the earth, even if it was very brief. I mean, you had wild animals mingling with domestic animals and seeing things that it was what we would consider abnormal. So it was, it was a spiritual thing as well, because I see it as the whole earth felt the same rhythm and vibration, probably for the first time in a very long time. So it was really a beautiful thing. And if it had not been to the degree that it was, one other measurement was the reaction to the George Floyd thing. I mean, everybody reacted to that. That kind of caught the whole world off guard, because everybody was in a more laid back state when that occurred.
Thank you, Ron. We indicated that there were so many things in the last 2 years that have occurred as a result of our asking and putting in the macro the desire for balance, for harmony, for love, for peace. And so there were so many things that we could see that the desire to be respected and to be loved is not just the United States desire. It's a desire of every human being everywhere. And so you're right, that rhythm, that reverberation of the killing of Floyd, a human being in front of so many people, reminded people that, yeah, we are human beings. And it's not just one race or the other race. We are all human beings on this terrestrial ball. we talked about in the garden, when Adam named the animals and named everything, that his sight worked in concert with his hearing, his inner hearing. We said that in the physical here, the sight is limited, but the inner hearing is unlimited. The spiritual is unlimited. And so these two were so in sync for Adam that he didn't have to think of what to call the animals. You know, I've seen in things I've read, how did Adam know what to call each of these things? He didn't have to know. They told him. The animals, the everything was so in sync that it reverberated its name. And that's what Adam called it. It reverberated. It's as if it was speaking its own name. He could hear each thing speaking its name. What has happened, though, is since the quote-unquote fall, with the growth of individualization, everybody seeing themselves as separate from something, or separate from this, or separate from that, or not part of this race, or not part of that race, whatever the perceived illusion of separation is. What has happened is that the man suffered a loss of sensitivity to this vibratory speech, the speaking. I mean, we even talk about speaking silence. There is such a thing as a speaking silence. So man's perceptual field before he fell, all of this hum that message of interconnection. All of the energies were interconnected. And now, after the fall, they were silent. And so man felt disconnected, as well as the objects of his sight. So the Shema reminds us, and that's the thread I'm pulling here, because the Shema talks about oneness of all, not only oneness of mankind, but oneness of everything. Even rocks have a certain resonance. Even chairs have a certain resonance. Houses, I mean, the wood that houses are made of, they're there to support humankind. If you don't think so, move out of your house and let it sit for years and years and years. It begins to degenerate, and so these, all of the stuff is for humankind. But humankind has the responsibility to dominate, meaning to take care of it, to care for it, to ensure that it's preserved and that it's used in its appropriate right way. So that's part of our responsibility, which means that you don't go and cut down all the trees everywhere at the same time and then expect that things are going to be hunky-dory, because what's going to happen is in some parts of the country, it's going to rain and all of that mud is going to come sliding down because you don't have any forestation to hold it back. We can't just go and take things out of the earth on iron ore or coal or whatever. There are consequences to everything. And so everything must be done with a balanced approach. It doesn't mean that we don't use it. It's there for our use. But we have through greed and through whatever, we've taken more than we should. Instead of like the folk in the desert took only the manna that they needed to feed themselves for that period of time, or that day, and then they took twice as much over the weekend so that it would feed them for the weekend when it did not rain from heaven. They took only what they needed. The things that we've done is we've taken much more than we needed, much more, because it's about money. But that's not unusual, because the God of this world is money. The God of this reality, it relates to all I can get for me. all I can get for me. It doesn't matter about you, but all I can get for me. And so when I think about that kind of consciousness, that selfish consciousness, then I don't care about what happens to the earth. I don't care about what happens to people in other countries. I don't care that people aren't vaccinated and large numbers of people aren't vaccinated in other countries, as long as I got mine. The thing that we don't understand is that when my brother hurts, I hurt. When there's no vaccination in other countries, that is going to, as we saw with this Delta variant, it's going to reach us. So we got to care about each other. Even if we weren't selfish, it's in our best interest as human beings to care about each other. Let me stop here and see if there's some other thoughts, because I can go on and on. I can. That's water here.
I like what you said,
Go ahead.
Barbara.
Go ahead.
About Genesis. You kind of dropped me off right there. That separation that man did, he not only real or imaginary, he saw himself separated from God. He believed that, and he separated himself also from nature and all that was. And is that not where we are today? We separate ourselves from everything living, including each other, and we put titles around us so that it looks as though that title has a status that's higher than the next guy's status. And it is that separation and that same greed today that you speak of that has us. In other words, we haven't moved. Not a whole lot has changed as far as where we are as trying to be humans, and we stepped away, and we still have no vision of that. So I just thought about that when you were talking about it.
Okay, thank you, Ron.
Uh,
Yes.
in the world of the unseen, you're absolutely right. Nothing has changed. However, because we have been equipped with a mind that's supposed to be transformed so that it is one with our soul, we have convinced ourselves that things have changed. We, as I said some time ago, we have never left beginning. We are still at beginning. And we're still convinced of that separation that you spoke of. The reality is the separation actually became more amplified when the body was given, when the soul was placed in a body. The separation, the idea of separation became more believable. And to this day, we believe that we are separate from each other. And in believing that, we believe that whatever happens, what we do to someone else does not have an effect on us, or whatever we see being done to someone else does not have an effect on us. The reality of it is, when we become human, we begin to see what's truly real, and what is truly real is the world of the unseen. And when we embrace that totally, then we begin to see the benefits of the world of the seen. And the benefits of the world of that which we see is for primarily the human. And what has happened, we have lost sight of humanity, and we have begun to act as animals in the wilderness who are fighting not only to survive, but are fighting to take everything we can for ourselves and leaving very little for anyone else to have to survive. So I believe that we are at this place now in understanding the difference between a human and a barbarian and seeing the unicity of the human and Elohim, seeing the unicity of the human and Abun. We are beginning to see the unicity of ourselves. The Shema says, "Hear, O Israel, Yahweh, our Elohim, is one," saying that they are the same. There's no difference, which also means there's no difference in us in Yahweh. There's no difference in us and Abun. The only difference is in our minds, and that difference is sort of realized because of our eyes. What our eyes see tell our minds that we are indeed separate from each other. And this pandemic, I think, has really, really amplified that as well, because what it actually did, it gave us the insight to see religion for what it is with a greater clarity than what we saw beforehand. And the clarity of it is becoming so apparent until the primary religions in this earth are beginning to splinter. The foundation of them are faltering, and they are beginning, those who have been undergirding them are beginning to search for something different, something more real than this religion. The thing that they thought was real, they're beginning to see now that it was an illusion and a lie. I'm done.
Thank you. We talked about at the vibratory level of the universe. Everything is one. All things are infinite, and they are all one at the vibratory level of the universe. Our sight, as you said, Pastor, shows us what's limited. But the hearing relates to sound, relates to resonance, relates to vibration. From a spiritual perspective, that's what is unlimited. And so that's why you can set a pendulum, you can set a clock. And this has been proven physically. You can set a clock with a pendulum differently from another clock with a pendulum. But if you wait long enough, they get in sync. They get in sync with each other, even though they weren't in sync initially. And I'm going somewhere with this as it relates to certainty. We talked about duality a little bit. And, we talked about limit and limitless. We talked about up and down. We talked about rich, and somebody might perceive themselves as poor. But at the spiritual level, everything is one. And so the point is, even though we perceive in the physical duality, in the spiritual, we balance that off. That it is all one. I don't think we talked about suffering, but you ask the question, why do people suffer? Why do they have to suffer? We talked a little bit about it, I believe, because we said that for some people, suffering draws them into the inner self, if you will, and they can find and uncover the Elohim that they are. For others who allow only the negative thoughts of, why me, Lord? Why am I in so much pain? Why did this have to happen to me? Why didn't somebody come in? The woe is me kind of attitude, the woe is me consciousness, the negativity consciousness, things happen to us. And how we approach them and what thoughts we attach to them are what manifests continually in reality. And so even in suffering, there can be light. Even in poverty, there's light. So the point is, there's light in everything. It depends on what thoughts we attach to it, and subsequently what words we attach to it, and then finally how we act on it. So when we allow our heart to mediate between these apparent attributes, opposite attributes, when we let our heart be the mediator and the heart bring them together, that's when we can be overcomers. In other words, that's when we can have balance. That's when one thing does not overshadow the other. That's when we can see power and beauty in everything, even in perceived duality. Within all perceived duality, at the vibratory level of sound, all is one. There is no duality. In other words, there's only now, and what is now. There may be questions about that.
It's funny you say that, Bob. Yesterday I was talking with Ron, and one of the things that I said is that I wanted to raise a question. How is it possible for duality and unicity to exist at the same time? Is there such thing as duality? And you touch on it now. And I see that it is easy for us to see that duality doesn't exist if we look beyond the physical. The physical appears to support the concept of duality. The right and the left, the up and the down, etc. However, if you could see us as open vessels, as a glass, and you put us in the ocean, just below the surface, every one of us is connected. But if you only look just below the surface, only thing you see are glasses or vessels that's full of water. But when you look beyond the surface, what you see is one ocean that's filling every glass. And it is in it is in that vein that there is no such thing as duality, even though it appears to be. Questions or comments? Or does that make sense?
Yes.
Ms. Barbara?
Yes. We talked about the fact that we are the treasures that the Bible speaks of. We are the treasure in earthen vessels. We are that earthen vessel, but the spirit that resides within is the treasure. And so that's the secret that's hidden in plain sight. And we have to beware of that. We are hiding from ourselves in plain sight in many ways until we understand who we are. It's within these vessels, these physical vessels, that the spirit resides. And when there's unicity between me, the human, and God, between us and God, we talked about we give up our livestock, we give up our everyday wisdom and knowledge and understanding, so it can be reflected through the prism of unicity with God in our everyday, ordinary things. We can't be just spiritual on Sunday or Saturday. This is a living thing that we do with every single experience, whether it's our jobs, whether it's when we're at play. It doesn't matter. We have to understand who we are, even if we got to keep telling ourselves that until we believe ourselves. We have to understand who we are. When we are connected to God, we are one. And so my point is this, in terms of certainty, knowing we are one with the Most High, why does doubt come in? Doubt comes in if we allow it to come in. It's our perceptions of things that give it clarity for us. If I perceive that there's not enough money for food, or I don't have enough love available for everybody, or whatever, I connect to life in fear. If I perceive lack, and I choose to connect to life that way, then I'm going to always see myself trying to compete with this or that, or to get this or that, because that's the way I connect. But I don't have to do that. I can choose not to connect to life through negativity. Now, you say, well, you always talk the positive game and bad stuff happens in your life. That's because that's the perception of something being bad. Who said something? What something about ship yesterday, and I said that you don't look at this ship or that ship, you just look at the ship, and then how you choose to respond and interact with it is what defines it and gives it its meaning to you. I can't remember what that comment was. Go ahead. Were you going to say something, Pastor?
I said, I think it was Kathy who made the statement that she said, if I am the rudder of the ship,
Yeah.
then I am the one who determines where it goes.
Exactly. Kathy says, yeah, Kathy did in response to that. You could choose whether the ship's going down, or if you could choose if I'm the rudder of the ship, then I can determine where it goes. So we define and we give meaning to even negative stuff that's perceived as negative by somebody else. It doesn't have to be perceived that way by us. Because remember, at the vibratory level, at vibratory resonance, there is no duality. All there is what is right now. and how we interface with it, how we attach to it, how we connect to it is what is reflected in what manifests in our lives. Final thing is when we're connected to an unlimited, all-powerful, omniscient, all-knowing source of the universe, we have no lack. There is no lack. So why do we perceive that we have lack? We perceive it because we're looking at what somebody else has. You know, there's that separate thing again going on. We see with our eyes, and we see the limitations that we have as it compares to somebody else. We shouldn't be doing that. Once we are aware of who we are, we don't need to do that because the source of everything has infinite numbers of possibilities for every situation we deal with, which means that you and I could be faced with the same thing. But as long as I don't try to box it up and say, I want it this way because you had it that way, or you don't box it up and say, well, I need it this way because Barbara has it that way. That's not the issue. We need to approach it from the perspective that we are both Elohim, and the source of all life provides infinite possibilities and things for us. Now that's totally different from perceiving a lack. So again, a lot of this is how we choose what we choose to connect to. Is it going to be something negative, or is it going to be a comparative of something and this and that? Or are we going to just accept what is? And as we said in the past, understand the lesson in it for us. What is it that I need to get out of this? What do I need to do with this? What do I need to see in this that will benefit mankind? Not me, but all me's, everyone. When we understand that there are limited possibilities, then my question is, why we're not more certain about certainty? Why do we allow doubt to come in when we're connected to an infinite source of goodness? Comment.
I think it's because we are struggling to hold on to what we believe. When that struggle takes place, all the things that are brought before us begin to distract us from the reality of who we are. And we feel like because of what we call living life, we can't hold on to it when that is not true. I think the difficulty in holding on to what we believe is found in not understanding where we are in the scheme of things. And what I mean by that is we talk about an understanding of the wisdom of the scriptures, the understanding of the wisdom of the teachers like Jesus and Muhammad and others. But they understood where they were in the scheme of things, meaning that Jesus knew that he was one with the Father. But not only did he know that, he knew what that meant. We are struggling to hold on to what it means to be one with the Father. And right now, we are on the threshold of spiritual beings functioning as spiritual beings in this body. We are on the threshold of being humans, which means that being reflective or a reflection of Elohim. When we talk about being a reflection of Elohim, what are we talking about? When we talk about being a reflection of Elohim, we are talking about the principles of the kingdom, loving kindness, forgiveness, etc. If you can't say something good about a person, say nothing about them. It doesn't mean that you lie and pretend that they're right when they're not. It simply means that you don't initiate negativity. We cannot pretend that the antics and principles of religion are real or that they are true. And at the same time, live with an expectation of being a reflection of Elohim. That's not going to happen. And the more that we understand about the wisdom of the scriptures, the more difficult it's going to be for us to try to live on both sides of the fence. You're not going to live on the fence. You're trying to live on both sides of that fence. So at some point, we are going to have to embrace the totality of spirituality and relinquish our hold on religion, because religion doesn't have a hold on us. We can let it go when we get ready. It's a decision we make. We seek to hold on to it because of friends, because of family. Not because it's true, but because of friends, because of family, and because we don't want to feel like we are separated from a group of people with whom we have associated, if not all of most of our lives. Right now, the greatest opportunity that we have ever experienced to be a reflection of our Creator is right now. It is in this present day. It is in this present time. It is right now. We do not have the luxury of playing the game of going along to get along. We must be true to ourselves, meaning that if we truly believe that we are a reflection of Elohim, we must be true to that belief, because that's who we were created to be. And never, ever, ever go along to get along. Never say things to make someone feel good about being wrong. It's better not to say anything than it is to say something just to placate someone. If there are questions or comments about that, Ron or Barbara or somebody will answer. I'm done.
Hey, Rep. This is Charles.
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand what you had said a while back about duality. What do you mean by duality? Do you mean by the present, past, or the future? Talk a little bit about duality.
There's no, duality indicates that there's space between two things, right? Which means that they're separate. There is no separateness in us. There is no separateness spiritually. There is no separateness any place except in our natural, what we see with our natural eyes and what we have convinced ourselves to believe with our minds.
Okay.
And I tried to explain that by saying that if you see all of these glasses filled with water, these vessels under the ocean, if you look under the ocean, the glasses look like they're separate from each other. But if you look at the surface, all of it is connected because the same ocean is filling all of them.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, good. Good. Any other questions?
The Buddha said this: do not think that this world is meaningless and filled with confusion, while the world of enlightenment is full of meaning and peace. Rather, taste the way of enlightenment in all affairs of this world. In other words, it's like we have this treasure of everything, all of these possibilities and all of this potential for whatever issues arise, whatever seeming problems arise. And it's up to us. It's like a treasure in a field, and we're digging for treasure. We don't have to wait until we die and quote unquote go to heaven, wherever that is. We don't have to do all of that stuff. Eternity is living in the now and being aware of who you are as you live in the now, the Elohim that you are, living in the now, which means then that you will be open to more than one possibility for getting somewhere. Just because somebody feeds something to you that this is the only way to do something, that's not so. There are limitless possibilities. And so that's the mindset, that's the consciousness we have to keep open, that that there are many different ways to respond to circumstances and experiences. And the duality, Charles, is if we say something's right or something's wrong. That's the duality right there. Because when we put that kind of definition around it, it keeps us in a cramped space. If we do this, we're right. If we do this, we're wrong. Who says what's right and what's wrong? They are the same at the vibratory level. So keep your consciousness open to other possibilities. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you.
So what I'm getting at is when we do this, we can be certain in any situation, even certain in suffering. Even certain in suffering. And a lot of times, when we suffer, whether it's a headache or a toe ache or whatever, when we open ourselves and start thinking about other things, it goes away, and we don't even know what happened or when it happened sometimes. But when we focus on it, and we speak words, I am so blah blah blah, I'm so blah blah blah, my toe hurts, my foot hurts, blah blah blah, and we keep focusing on it, we are attaching those negative things to it, and that's what continues to manifest, because we are saying, okay, there's nothing else that can get me out of this. I just have to bear this pain. When we do that, we box ourselves up again. We box ourselves up, and you also box your expectation of Elohim and the Most High also, because it's not that the source of all life is limited. It is limitless, but we limit what it is capable of doing in our lives. We are the limit. We are the limitator. And so my point to everyone is don't limit yourselves. Don't allow things to limit you. Be open to all possibilities. Someone said there's more than one way to skin a cat. Well, who's going to skin a cat? Nobody's going to skin a cat. I mean, you know, in reality, but there's more than one way to approach issues. That's all I'm saying. So
And
certainty, then, yes, go.
go ahead, say that.
So
I want
certainty
to
is
add something.
okay. So certainty
Certainty is what?
is this cosmic connection. It's that it's a connection between the source of all life and us. It transcends time. It extends from physical limitation to the divine, to the source of our life. It's a higher state of consciousness, if you will, that we embrace. And when we open ourselves up to all the possibilities, we have the whole cosmos to feed us meaning possibilities. The whole cosmos. So we don't have to say, I can try this or that. We can say, have you tried this? Have you tried that? Have you tried that? So many possibilities. So certainty is, I'm certain there is an approach that's going to work through this so that it doesn't harm me and it doesn't harm humankind. I'm certain of that. I'm certain that when I go to sleep tonight, the sun is going to rise tomorrow. I'm certain that when I breathe, I'm going to breathe tomorrow. And because you know why? Even if I'm not here in the physical, it doesn't matter. The breath is not what enlivens me. The spirit is what enlivens me. And that's more than just breath. And so let your certainty rest on your spirituality, not on your physical, not on physicality. Go ahead, Pastor, you're going to add something.
Yes, the breath is not what enlivens me. It enlivens the body. And if we believe that it's the spirit that enlivens us, if we believe that we are Elohim, then we have to believe that we are the source of life. The reason that the Adam was told to dominate is because it is the source of life in this earth. We have been the detractors of life. We have been the destroyers of life. We have been the limiters of life, as opposed to being the source of all life. We are the source of all life if we are Elohim. We were created to be the light of life in the earth. And the only way that we can be the light of life in the earth is for us to reflect the principles of the one who gave life to us. So whenever you feel distraught or feel like everybody or everything is against you, remind yourself that in the wilderness of this existence on this earth, those things, those circumstances are presented to us in order to strengthen us as well as humanity. If we get lost along this journey by the circumstances that we face, if we get lost in them, then how is it that we can have any expectation of bringing humanity to a place of balance, a place of peace, a place of harmony? We have seen too many of our desires be expressed and exposed for us to have any doubt as to who we are and the journey that we are on. Any questions about that? Or comments, observations, additions?
So, Rev, like the word says in the Bible, a righteous man availeth much.
Yes.
So that means
Yes.
when a righteous man speaks the things of God the way he had said, it don't mean no different, right or wrong to other people, but it is right what he says.
Yes, a righteous man is reflective of the principles of Elohim. A righteous man is the reflection of Elohim. Jesus, when Jesus said, I'm the Father, when he is saying that I am a mirror. If you want to see who the Father is, look at me. I'm the mirror. If you want to see who you're supposed to be, look at me. I am your mirror. How do I know Jesus meant that? Because Jesus said, not only will you do what I have done, but greater things than these ye shall do. However, he had a caveat with that, and that was, if you believe as I believe, if you trust what I trust, then you'll be able to do greater things than these. So being that mirror is the first step towards being who we are to be in this earth for the purpose of balance in this earth, for the purpose of bringing a barbaric group of animalistic attitudes to a place of balance for the purpose of being human. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Anyone else?
I really like that. And the wisdom in seeing the truth about duality speaks and shows us that there's everything while you're on this journey is at your disposal. So it doesn't matter if it's east or west. It doesn't matter if it's up or down. Your journey decides what you need, and it is the here and now. And nothing is, the balance is what you choose to fulfill what you need at that time. So I like that. That just kind of opens up for me, and I can see what you're saying, and understand that. I like that.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? I'm sorry.
Not
Ron,
only
were you
that-
finished? Ron,
No.
were you finished? Huh?
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
Charles.
okay. Okay, Charles.
Yes.
I was getting ready to get Ron more confident. Not only that, when Jesus told them to go, he told them, don't take anything with you when you do. Everything going to be provided for you.
And I
Yeah,
think that's the. Go ahead, Ron.
My example is your children, your wisdom. You give one something that you don't give the other one, but both of them got what they need.
Right.
That's the wisdom in it. See, it looks like if you look at it from a immature perspective, that one was treated unfairly, but that is not the case. It is giving each and every one of them, seeing them where they are at their time, and giving them what they need for growth, what they need to bring them to a place of awareness, and that's what I see, and because it just opens up a whole nother door. It means, to me, it's saying nothing is in your way. If you're on the journey to truth, and that is what you seek, and your aim is to bring love and kindness to the earth, then everything is a tool to you, and there's nothing that has the ability to stand in your way. And
And you're right.
that just kind of opened up to me when Bob and Pastor were giving examples of that. Yeah.
When Charles, go ahead, Sheldon.
You can go ahead right quick.
when Charles said that about take nothing with you, Jesus told the disciples that. I think that's an allegory. An allegory is a story that tells a spiritual truth, and that is speaking more to not being focused on what you think you need. It's speaking more to trusting the mission. Do what you are supposed to do, and all the things that you think you need will be added to you without you having to struggle to carry them with you or even to gather them for the purpose of carrying them. I'm done. Go ahead, Shug.
It's connected to what you were just saying as well. I was trying to think of the word that Barbara was trying to remember. All I was trying to remember, and it was hardship. And thinking about that from the terms, I couldn't think of it. But I was trying my best. But thinking of things in terms of duality, what we're doing when we typically view things in duality is we immediately determine whether something is good or bad from a sense, or we look at it with a sense of perhaps even scorn and not recognizing, I guess, its utility or seeing the greater picture. So like an easy example would be the idea of fire and then, something freezing. Fire can both burn something down, in a sense destroy it, so to speak. A fire can also create warmth. It also can cook food. Likewise, and I'm using fire or something extremely hot and cold since they're viewed as being opposites, but really it's just temperature period, and temperature can do lots of things. Something being cold, of course, it can provide coolness. At the same time, it can help preserve something longer as well. So even with something that's extremely cold, it still has the aspects where it may be wanted and may not be wanted. When Ron mentioned the idea of the kids having getting two different things but having enough regardless of, I guess, the sense what measure they got of these certain things, which are not necessarily equal. The idea of looking at with scorn or saying what I did not get is to automatically not be appreciative or recognize the value in what it is that you did receive. And not to understand that we have enough. So when we talk about the unity and the oneness and moving, I guess looking at a picture that goes beyond duality, it is that recognition and understanding that all things that are needed will be there. I was thinking about it, even the idea of someone just being extremely tired or someone being in pain. You can immediately look at that as something that is completely unwanted, but it is also a sign that for me, I need to take my behind and rest or whatever because my body needs to restore itself, or I need to give my arm or something, some time to heal, and it's a little sore and tender. I need to allow to take it easy to allow my body to naturally heal that part of my body. It's just something more so to bring attention, not for me something to necessarily just harp on and just, be extremely upset because this is the situation that is going on, and I'm just looking at it as what I cannot do. Like, no, this is just a sign. This is no different from you driving down the street and the service engine light, soon light comes on. Yes, that's going to cost you some money, but at the same time, that's alarming you that this needs to be taken care of for you to continue to be able to drive this vehicle, et cetera. So it is being not looking at the things that we have and automatically painting them in a picture of them automatically being unwanted. It doesn't mean you necessarily have to harp on it. You also don't necessarily have to immediately say, this thing is horrible, this thing is terrible. I'm finished.
No, Shelby. In addition to that, when Ron was talking about the two kids and the parent, the one who says that well, you didn't do that for me. That one is also establishing that they believe they are lacking something. It's the parents who the two kids, and one seems to get more than the other. And one day the parent says, "What you don't understand is that you are stronger. Your brother's weak. He needs this. He needs me more than you." And then you realize that you were complaining about having lack of something that you had an abundance of, and did not even realize it.
Yeah, and
Which
that,
is
and that's not
exactly
having
what
to
the
appreciate.
prodigal son had. Not the prodigal son, the other son who remained when the prodigal son came home. He complained that you didn't give me. Yeah, he had it all along, so he didn't need any additional. The son who was gone was back, and that's what was to be celebrated.
Right.
I think Barbara summed it up when she talked about being at a higher level of consciousness. You're destroying earthly principles. What do I mean by that? Duality, if you think about it, is a negative word. It means to do means to stand against or oppose something. So even the higher self sees that doesn't exist on the spiritual level, or anything that I need is there, and as you said earlier, whatever is needed for the present. So this is what I need. I need to go right. I need to go west today. I may need to go east tomorrow to make a point or to bring about truth. So it destroys all of those principles that are earthy, that say being separate, being and being stronger than the other is what is right and what is needed. The exact opposite is true. Destroying duality brings balance because it shows us that we're all the same, and whatever it takes to get us to that place is what we do, regardless of how much it may take me 10 years to see a principle and take Sheldon 10 minutes. But regardless, we are in the same place, and that's what's important.
And that's why we can have certainty, because if we don't put the descriptors around things and just allow ourselves to flow with it, you're right, you and Sheldon, what you need is there as you need it for whatever circumstance. So, if you don't put the descriptors around it, you stay connected you stay connected to the cosmos, to the universe, to that resonance that understands and not understands, but resonates that this is what she needs right now. This is what she needs right now. This is what she needs right now, and provides it. And so that's what the certainty is when we act, when we are what we be, not what we see. The certainty is whatever occurs is okay. It's either teaching me something, it's whatever. So again, my goal is to refrain from putting the descriptors around it and just be.
It's like, as Ron was talking about, the duality speaks to opposition. There are no opponents. There is no opposition. There's opportunity, as opposed to opposition and opponent. Opportunities to do what? Or opportunity for what purpose? That what appears to be, or that what we have defined as an opponent or something that's in opposition, is simply a circumstance that needs to be repurposed It's energy that needs to be repurposed. So we have an opportunity to repurpose that energy. We have an opportunity to gain strength from that which we deem to be an opponent. For example, we talk about how we have gone through adversities, and as a result of it, it has strengthened us. So the question is, how did that happen? How is it possible for something that's designed, that we believe designed to weaken, how did it strengthen us? Because the energy that we had to expend in order for us to deal with that was not an expansion of the energy, it was actually an embracing of that energy, that adversarial energy, and forming it into something that it should have been from the beginning, and that is the source of our strength. It is having that energy infused into our energy and becoming balanced with it. That's what we are talking about when we talk about how we are strengthened through adversity. Does that make sense? And maybe someone can explain it better than I.
Yes, because from a spiritual perspective, that adversity isn't even an adversity. But because we are
Right.
not all there, and we choose to connect to it and see it as something adverse to my good, then, it's again under scripture, then that's what we focus on. But we don't have to do that. You're right. If we see it as opportunity for what? Opportunity to grow, opportunity to be, opportunity to love, opportunity to show compassion. I wonder what would happen if we would see everything that we once perceived as a problem. We say, what is the opportunity in this? What is the benefit of this?
Why don't we do that? Why don't we offer this challenge? Be very conscious of everything that you face, and be very conscious of how you feel about what you're facing, and speak to it. What is this? Why is this presenting itself to me? What opportunity is it giving me, as opposed to what's taken away from me? Let's do that for the next 10, 20 days and see how your life changes. Are you willing?
That's how you build on certainty.
Yes.
Yeah, that's actually how the universe works. Instead of saying why me or what's going on now, it's just speak to it, and we forget that we are positive players in this, and the universe is a tool for us, and we are a tool for it because we all have the same objective. And that's to bring truth and love and unity and enlightenment to mankind. So that's how it's supposed to work. We're supposed to speak to it with certainty. Even in the parts that we don't know. Okay, show me what this is. Show me why this happened. What do I do with this? There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all.
And even if you don't see it, you have still spoken with certainty that you know that not only are you important to the universe, you're part of it.
Yes.
Pastor, may I add one thought as well? As I'm listening, the other part of that, and I said this yesterday, but I want to reiterate it again. As I'm facing adversities now, I'm not so concerned about show me why this is coming to me or show me. My focal point is, and this is just something I learned through meditation like just a few days ago, when I shared with you when I was told that I am the one who will create things below as things above. And when you started talking about that, and when you guys were teaching on that, that's why I got so excited, because that had just been shown to me. But just like we are like when we are forgiving others, that becomes the embodiment and the personification of being loving kindness, being able to forgive. What I'm also being shown now is when I just am thankful for the opportunity to see who I am. So when something adverse comes my way, I approach it from a mindset of thank you for this opportunity for me to see who I am. And that has empowered me more than anything else that I can say at this point, because I never thought of it as that opportunity to see who I am. Because the situation arose today, and I was telling everybody, could you please mute your phone? I was telling everyone that I had a difficult situation to face, but as it got closer to the time for the meeting today, I made the decision this is not going to be a difficult situation. I am the rudder of this ship. I am going to steer this in. And the moment the gentleman arrived for the meeting, everything was from a place of love and kindness on his part. Nothing was contentious anymore. We had a lovely 2.5-hour meeting, and it was just a beautiful thing to see how we went from being pretty contentious with one another, pretty angry with one another, to a place of loving kindness, because I feel I made that decision that I am going to see what's in me. I'm not going to let your ugly text messages and emails make me treat you a certain way. I'm going to be balanced in the situation. And as a result of embracing that, I am thankful for the opportunity to see what's in me, to see who I am. And so I add that layer as well, because that just helps me stay balanced even more, because the opportunity in and of itself is the opportunity to see me. And to me, that was just revolutionary. I'm not looking for something in someone else. I'm seeing what's in me. And that's all I wanted to add.
Thank you, Kathy. That just resonates so much. Any other comments? We've been talking about oneness, and that oneness is the oneness with our Creator. And the question is, how can there be doubt when the one is connected and in union with the Creator? Anytime there is doubt, we've broken that a little. We've broken that connection somewhat, and that's what we allow to come in, and anything that's separate from the Creator in us separates us. So my desire is that we understand that we are continuously one with the Creator, that we are the Creator is us in a sense, having been created in the image of the Creator, and that there's nothing that can, that gives more preeminence to that, the phrase that talks about, can anything separate us from that love? Because the Creator is love, so we have to be love. Neither life nor death, neither principalities, the physical, nothing, absolutely nothing should be able to separate us. And when we aren't separated, everything is possible. Anything is possible.
Can I say something about the doubt for a minute? And I think it's, yeah, okay, thank you. I think you're saying the same thing Pastor said, and I'm just kind of saying it how I see it, I guess. But we talk about wisdom and understanding and how that leads to your experiences and your knowledge, and we on a very personal level for each and every one of us, the mind and that those that use those experiences to try to protect us. It thinks it's protecting you because you've either been hurt in the past or this is what worked in the past. And we're not at that place anymore. So those hurts or those experiences that you've used in the past may have been used in religious settings, it may have been used in other ways, but they don't work anymore. So the doubt creeps in because you look at that and said, well, before this is what I've done, it worked or it didn't work, or here we go again. But I like what we were saying, what Kathy and Pastor and Barbara started a minute ago. Speaking to the universe is real. And even if you get to a place where that doubt does creep in and you say, no, I'm not going there. This is what this is saying to me. I see this. I see this as change. I see this as what, so when we learn to speak to the universe with the certainty that you're talking about, because it's there, it's waiting for us. It's waiting for us, or we wouldn't be having these lessons, these conversations. So I guess just that little bit has me excited because I see this totally different, because I do understand the doubt. Trust me, I do. And I see now how to uproot it because there's something, I'm not at that same place anymore. I hope that makes sense.
It does. And if there's anyone on this phone or anyone who may be on it later who needs to know or understand how to uproot that doubt, please say so. And that can be reiterated and spoken and talked about, rather, until you grasp what's being said here, because this is extremely important if we are truly serious about being the mirror of Elohim. Anyone. Okay, Barbara Jean.
Okay, I think that's all that I want to share tonight, and end with the Romans 8:35, which says, well, let me find it first, and then I'll tell you what it says. It's don't let anything separate you from the love of God in Christ Jesus. It says, well, come on up.
I bet you George and Philly know.
Who should separate us from the love of Christ? And it talks about will tribulation, will distress, persecution, famine, nakedness, peril, sword. That nothing can separate us if we don't let ourselves be separated. Nothing can separate us. Doubt, allowing doubt to come in and then allowing it to stay in, separates. Because remember, there is only unicity with the one who is our source. And the one that is our source has no lack. There is no limitation. And if we see a limitation, then we begin to see a separation or a doubt.
Barbara,
I'm done.
I saw something. When you read that scripture, I saw something. That scripture is also talking about us.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing that should cause us to be able to separate ourselves from those who do any of that to us. They should be able to look at us and say that there's absolutely nothing I can do to stop them from loving me. Nothing. That should be, that should, hold on 1 second. There should never be an opportunity for that.
Right.
If we can't be separated from it, then hold on 1 second. Hold on, Mommy. If that scripture is applicable to us and it is us, right? Then what's being said is there's absolutely nothing that could separate us. However, we feel like sometimes that someone is angry with us. I remember dealing with someone within the family structure, and they were upset with me. And what happened is I said to them, you can do anything in this world you want to do, but there's one thing that you'll never be able to do, and that is to stop me from loving you. So that must be our attitude. So when we deal with people, whether individually or collectively, that should be their mantra. I've seen that there's nothing I can do that can stop them from loving me or to separate them from me. Same principle. So, which means that regardless of what is said to us or what we perceive to be done to us, our response always has to be a divine response. I'm done.
Thank you. Any other final comments? Okay, I think that's it then. Thank you guys for your input and for hearing and understanding and listening. And I guess we'll see you on Saturday at 10 a.m.
Yes.
I'll hear you on Saturday at 10 a.m. Have a good night.
Good night.
You do.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you.
Good night.
Have a great week.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.